Thank you for taking 10 to watch CNN 10. I'm Carl Azus at the CNN Center. We're happy to see you this Wednesday. The violence is getting worse in a special administrative region of China. Massive protests have been going on in Hong Kong for more than 5 months now, and police say what happened early this week has pushed society to the brink of a total breakdown. They blame rioters for the ongoing violence in the city. Protesters blame police for using excessive force. The demonstrators have made 5 demands of their government. 1 has been met, but Hong Kong's leader, Carrie Lam, has refused to meet the other 4, which include her resignation, an investigation into police actions, the release of protesters who've been arrested, and more democracy in Hong Kong. The city used to be a British colony. Its residents generally have more freedoms than those in mainland China. But China says it ultimately has control over Hong Kong and that it supports the city's leader. More than 300 demonstrators were arrested on Monday and Tuesday alone. They've set fires, built barricades, disrupted transportation, and thrown gasoline bombs at police. Police have fired tear gas at them, and on Monday, an officer shot and injured a protester with a live round. The policeman said he was afraid the protester would try to take his gun. An international human rights group called the shooting a reckless use of force. Also on Monday, the BBC reports that a person who spoke out in favor of China was set on fire by the protesters. The violence is having ripple effects across the city.
We are in downtown Hong Kong, the heart of the financial district of luxury shopping. Demonstrators had occupied this square. Police ran them out with several rounds of tear gas and then detained dozens. And now a force is leaving and they're being pursued by residents. Come take a look at the defensive posture they're taking right now. This is not a police force that feels secure and confident in its own city. And it gets to the heart of the problem here. The administration is relying on this police force. A substantial portion of the population does not agree with the policies. And you get scenes like this, with the crowd hurling abuse and curses at them. And there is no end in sight to these sharp political divisions and this crisis that has plunged Hong Kong into economic recession, the worst crisis the city has seen in a generation. Ivan Watson, CNN, Hong Kong.
Ivan reporting at the moment tear gas was fired toward demonstrators. Our next story takes us to Washington, D.C., where public hearings begin on Wednesday in the House of Representatives impeachment inquiry, its investigation concerning U.S. President Donald Trump. Did the president abuse his power, as many Democrats say he did? In a summer phone call he had with Ukraine's leader, was President Trump illegally trying to get Ukraine to dig up dirt on potential Democratic challenger Joe Biden? Or was the phone call perfect, as the president says it was? And is the House impeachment inquiry just a partisan attempt to hurt President Trump and his fellow Republicans in the 2020 elections? We're not sure how the next few weeks are going to play out in the investigation. There are a few things we can expect. According to a CNN editor, there will be witnesses, there will be documents reviewed, and there will be 2 political parties doing everything they can to tell the story that looks best for them. As far as the process itself goes, CNN's Tom Foreman explains what to expect with that.
Any effort to impeach a president must begin in the U.S. House of Representatives. The Constitution says so, and even though such efforts are exceedingly rare, certain procedures are more or less standard. Most often, the Judiciary Committee kicks it off, although other committees may be involved, by investigating allegations which have been raised against the president. Now, this can happen with or without a vote to authorize an impeachment inquiry. We've had such votes in other impeachment proceedings, but the law doesn't require it. In any event, what comes next is lawmakers from both parties listening to witnesses, reading documents, and reviewing evidence to see if the president might have engaged in treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors, such as using the office for personal gain or abusing power. If they think he has, then those committees can push for a full vote of the House on articles of impeachment. A simple majority can impeach the president. Does this mean he is guilty? No, not necessarily. Does it remove him from office? No, not necessarily. All this really does is formally charge the president and move the process over to the Senate, where the Senate must hold a trial according to the Constitution. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, would sit up front presiding, while House impeachment managers would present the charges against the president, and the president's lawyers would dispute them. Witnesses can be called, questions can be raised, senators sit and serve as jurors in all of this. Many pitfalls could come up to short-circuit the process, but so far, Republican leadership has suggested any trial would be allowed to run its course. At the end, each senator must deliver their verdict. If 2/3 say guilty, then the president is convicted and would be removed from office, something that, despite 3 serious pushes toward impeachment, has never before happened.
10-second trivia. Which of these companies was founded in 1998 by Larry Page and Sergey Brin? Facebook, Google, Microsoft, or Amazon? The only one of these companies that Page and Brin founded in 1998 is Google. Next topic today involves Google, Ascension, and Project Nightingale. You know the technology company Google. Ascension is a nonprofit healthcare organization, and Project Nightingale is the code name for a partnership between Google and Ascension. It was first reported by the Wall Street Journal earlier this week. Why is this significant? Ascension is one of the largest hospital systems in America, and by teaming up with Google, it's allowing at least 150 Google employees to access the medical information of millions of Americans. Why are the two companies doing this? Google wants to be a major player in the U.S. healthcare industry. It wants a big share in that very large market. And Ascension is hoping Google's artificial intelligence technology will help doctors provide care by using patients' data to predict possible health problems. Google says the medical information it gathers will be kept separate from user information, like the websites people visit or the YouTube videos they watch. And it says it'll follow laws that keep people's health information and medical records private. So why is this controversial? Well, Google does not need to notify patients whose medical information it gathers, so they may not know if Google has accessed things like test results, birth dates, or diseases they've been diagnosed with. Like other tech companies, Google has been criticized and sometimes fined for illegally mishandling people's private information. And according to the Wall Street Journal, some Ascension employees have questioned how Google is collecting and sharing patients' information. Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft are also trying to increase their involvement in U.S. healthcare. Last headline of the day: Florida man goes kayaking, captures monkeys raining from the sky. Okay, they were actually raining from the trees. There are hundreds of rhesus monkeys that live in Silver Spring State Park, and a whole barrel of them apparently decided to swim across the Silver River while the man who captured this video was paddling by. He says he believes the animals were being chased, possibly running from a fight with an alpha male. So better to run than to be left in rhesus pieces. I'm not going to have a better pun than that. We'll just leave it there. I'm Carl Jesus, and that's all the monkeying around we're going to do today on CNN.